had great upside, had energy, charisma. I know what it's like to be externally successful and inwardly miserable. And I just want everybody to have permission right now and to be transparent with yourself, to know you can be externally successful and inwardly happy. And you don't have to think that because you have internal issues or challenges or anxiety that somehow that makes you less valuable. So you asked me, how did I become who I am today? I survived. That's half the battle sometimes, is getting back up. So yeah, I'm from a small town called Jackson, Michigan. Nobody knows where that's at. I always say this weird joke. I say me and Tony Dungy are the only famous person from Jackson, Michigan, and then people laugh, and I say it's not funny because he's famous and I'm not. But we are from the same hometown. I played in this stadium, and so I grew up a very smart kid. And you hear this in the TEDx talk. I talk about how I was the black kid who was in accelerated learning classes, which I thought was cool until my black counterparts or my colleagues didn't think it was cool. They made fun of me for being the black kid that talked and acted white. So I started to have deep-rooted insecurity. And some people face that. Like, we've all, like, kids are mean. and a lot of times, you know, in counseling sessions, they start off at childhood because that's where the wounds occur. Like, that's when people made fun of who we were. Like, I feel like that's where everyone's trying to get to. Like, we're trying to get to that raw, authentic self before the world put its hands on us, before somebody shot us down or rejected us. And so I experienced that rejection at a young age, being a black kid that quote unquote talked and acted white. And that caused me to change who I was in order to fit in with other people. And so, long story short, sports became my identity. Sports became the thing that didn't force me to have to choose between white friends and black friends, you know, affluent people, poverty people. It let me be me, because everybody would talk to the star athlete. So I could be me. But then I hid behind my athletic success. And so had success and then got a back injury at my freshman year, and that should have ended my career. Like, I should have been done at the end of my freshman year, and just focused on my education, had a full ride scholarship. But for me, sports was not what I did. It was who I was.
Right.
It was what I worshiped. It was the way I was going to be super successful and famous. And I was going to, like, be Tony Dungy and buy stadiums and put my family on the map and hire, like, people that were my friends. Like, that was how I was going to, like, it was everything. And then when that got taken away from me, I couldn't let it go like that. So what did I do? Something stupid. I signed a liability waiver to be able to keep my dreams alive. And I put my body through 2 years of absolute pain and torment. Like, just grinding at the mill. Just, if I could just make it to the league, then all my problems and my insecurity would go away. So because I had a back injury and was playing Division I football, I got opioids. And when you are prescribed to opioids, you can get whatever you want. And so I got addicted to painkillers. I got so bad to every time I made contact on the field, my nose would bleed because I was taking so many painkillers. It was thinning my blood. And finally, going into my senior year, my coaches saw that my nose is bleeding, my back has a permanent hunch, I'm fatigued, and they're like, dude, we don't know what you're doing, but we got to shut you down. Sometimes we need people who will just look at us and say, look, you're grinding too hard, shut it down. Take a moment for self-care. And I'm all for hustling, dude. Hustle, grind. I'm a hard worker. But make sure you take care of yourself. Never sacrifice yourself on the altar of success. You can succeed in business and succeed in life and succeed in mental health. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. While you grinding for everybody else, make sure you grind hard for you. So, anyways, I'm getting angry because dude, tell me how many people you see that, like, in their effort to make an impact, grind so hard that they burn out.
Oh yeah, all the time. And then they hate it, and then they equate that to the mission, and that's not what the mission is.
That's not
right.
Because here's the thing: if you burn out, you're out. The mission's over. I said we're called to burn bright, not to burn out.
Ooh, fire.
But I burned out, man. And so coaches terminated my liability waiver. That's when I had to face all my issues. Because here's the thing. Sometimes we think that not talking about our pain makes it go away, but it doesn't. It just avoids it. and we're just building up wrath. And that's what it was. I blocked it out. I didn't want to deal with the fact that I didn't know what I was going to do outside of sports. And I just numbed that pain with drugs. And then when sports got taken away, I couldn't hide behind sports and addiction anymore. And I had to face all of those feelings. And guess what? While I was in the middle of that depression, I had a girlfriend who I was dating for 4.5 years, planning to marry, left me, got engaged to another man. Life smacked me in the face. Just like this coronavirus pandemic has smacked people in the face, I got smacked hard. That sent me into the darkest depression of my life. I got suicidal. I started mixing my opioids with alcohol, drinking and driving, writing suicide letters. Like, sorry. I tried to starve myself to death. I went from 275 pounds to 219 pounds in 4 weeks. Man, dude, I know what it's like to be low. And the worst part about it is I didn't think anybody could relate. Who would feel sorry for me? I had an opportunity to play Division I football with some of the best players in the world. Antonio Brown, #1 draft pick Eric Fisher, on and on and on. Super Bowl winner Frank Zombo, Vince Agnew, some great athletes, man. What did I have to complain about? So I kept it in. I bottled it up. And because it was all bottled up, I was imploding. And finally, all these attempts at suicide landed me in a psychiatric unit. And it was there I had this life-changing experience that gave me hope, identity, purpose, set me on fire, helped me to believe that my life matters. So now I'm on this mission. I'm on this mission to help everyone unlock abundance in their life, because I don't believe that we're called to live in lack. I believe there's enough joy to go around, peace to go around, happiness, money, business, whatever. There's enough resources in this world that we all can have a share. So forget scarcity mindset. It's abundance time. And that's what I love to do. At the core of everything, driving behind everything I do is that abundance.
My goodness.
That's how I became who I am. I survived.
My goodness. That was like a little bit of the TEDx talk there that I was talking about. I'm moved by, I told Alan, like right when I watched that, it was like, I connect. So I have been suicidal on several occasions. And immediately it was like, okay, I want to talk to this gentleman because he knows what it's like. And that there is that feeling of nobody can understand this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't have that, that level of success. I was a 6-figure earner and I had a lot of nice things, but nobody's going to understand that. Mm-hmm. Right. When you talk about living, what's the difference between living a regular life, just a life, and living an abundant life? What is the difference? And how does somebody know what they're actually living?
Yeah. I think buried inside of everybody is a gnawing need and desire to make a difference that lasts beyond themselves. The buzzword we use is called legacy. I don't think anybody wants to be the person that came to Earth and left and nobody ever noticed. So to me, the abundant life is not about riches, fame, platforms. It might include that, but it's about doing the thing that's in your heart to do. Right. For some people, it's I want to be the first person in my family to get a college education. For some people, that's their abundant life. You can't let somebody else define it for you. I say this all the time. Your purpose should not be generic. Oh, I want to help people. I want to be a good dad. We all do. Your purpose should be as unique as your fingerprint is. What do we get when we get you? That's the abundant life. You can be Colonel Sanders. You can be the person that mentored Colonel Sanders that nobody knows about. This isn't about comparison. This is about what's in your heart to do. And making sure that you don't go to the grave with your book, your dream, your desire, your legacy buried beneath your fear.
So one thing I want to ask you, this has been absolute fire so far. One thing I want to ask you is, I have this thing that I went on a lot of shows recently this past week, and one of the questions they asked me is like, what's your thing? And what I said, like, if you could give one thing to the listeners, what would it be? And what I said was, when we're in emotional pain, which by the way is guaranteed for every single one of us,
yep.
What do? Do you escape into a vice, or do you develop a virtue? to me, when we're in emotional pain, we're going to see something we didn't see before. I say that the stars are always there, but we can only see them in the dark. So sometimes when we're in the dark, we see something we never saw before. When you were really in the dark after, hitting your rock bottom, what was the thing that you saw that you never would have seen if you weren't willing to kind of sit in that dark for a little while?
Dude, that is a phenomenal question. Can I come back again and do this again? Like, I love having these conversations. That's a great question.
Darryll, there's plenty of time for me to run this thing right off the tracks. It's still early.
Yeah, right. All right, crash it.
No, that's hilarious, man. I saw the little boy that I still was. I might have been grown in age. They say sometimes with time, with age comes wisdom. Sometimes age just shows up all by itself.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my case. I might have been older, but I was still the 6-year-old boy who got made fun of. I was still stuck. And I didn't recognize that I hid behind partying and sports and drugs just because I didn't want to deal with the fact that this little boy was still ticked off that nobody liked him. And that's real, man. I mean, like, that's just me being transparent and authentic. And I think that sometimes, and honestly, that's the gift that this pandemic has given some of us, that we can't stay busy enough to avoid it. I mean, we can binge watch Netflix, but there's only so much of that. At some point we got to zone in and go, let me deal with my stuff.
Yeah.
Because avoiding it doesn't make it go away.
That makes it work.
You bring that stuff into all your relationships. The reason why you guys can serve at the level you're serving and bring the energy you're bringing to the world is because you pause long enough to work through that stuff.
Oh, yeah. So uncomfortable.
Dude, it sucks.
How do we encourage people to embrace that discomfort? Because I remember asking my girlfriend this one time. I said, can you grow without challenge? And she said, no, immediately. She's like that. And I'm like, okay, challenge is hard and painful, right? Yeah. And she's like, yeah. And it's like, okay, then why are we avoiding the very one thing that will help us contribute more, which is growth? Because if you don't grow, you're only going to be able to contribute at a certain level into people's hearts and into people's minds. So what's your take on that? And how do we get people to embrace that discomfort instead of escaping into those escapes of vices?
Dude, you want to talk about hyper consciousness? This is it. Okay, watch this. So, I want to say this in a way that people get it, because I get this all the time. Well, I know, but it's just so hard, and I don't want to go there, and it's traumatic. I don't want to relive my pain. And some people are just like such A-type personalities and go-getters, and that they don't even I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound fun. It's not. But it's worth it. So we have to reframe it. Like anything worth doing, the process is always difficult. So do you focus on the reps or do you focus on the reward? So changing your focus is extremely important. If I think about waking up in the morning, wiping sleep out of my eyes, geeking myself up to work out, running to exhaustion, nobody wants to do that. Nobody. I don't care how crazy are. Nobody wants to just get up and just grind, even if you like working out. I want to win championships. I want to be in the best shape of my life. I want to like myself when I look in the mirror. So if I focus on the promise and not the process, it makes it worth. So I think first off, we have to realize that going through this dark night of the soul is worth the promise, is worth the reward. Okay. Number one. Number two, man. And here's a practical question, because I feel like we're all logical. I feel like we make decisions that we think is best for us. Nobody runs into traffic. Nobody self-harms on purpose. It's that we believe this temporary lie that this short-term satisfaction is serving me. So I think we have to expose the lie. What's the lie? Here's the lie. The lie is that by avoiding it, I'm feeling better about myself. The lie is that by pretending it's not there, I'm avoiding the pain of it. The lie is that whatever your subconscious is telling you that is a logical reason to avoid going there or sitting still. Some people think that, oh man, well, I don't want to, they say, I don't want to discover what's in the closet.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with that. I don't, and it's really traumatic stuff, right? So whether my dad left me when I was younger, or I got to deal with the fact that my parents got divorced, or I got sexually molested when I was a child, like whatever that you got to deal with, that we don't want to sit and deal with it. I get it. I'm not trying to minimize the trauma. I'm trying to maximize the reward. I'm trying to maximize the power that you have over the trauma. Because here's the lie. We think that it's not affecting us because we're not dealing with it. The truth is it's bleeding into every part of our life.
Right.
Every part of our life. The little boy who was still unsure of if he should talk hood or white was still bleeding into my leadership style, was still bleeding into my speaking style. I had to go back to that point and go, it was good for me that I can talk black and talk white, or proper and improper, or ebonics, informal. It's, you know why? Because it made me who I am. I'm versatile. I can talk to addicts recovering from addiction, and I can talk to executives in the boardroom. Come on. Why?
The difference, Darryll, what's the difference between that and somebody who takes that, looking back to 6-year-old you?
Yeah.
You're using your adversity as your advantage.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people, some people don't. Some people don't, maybe they don't have the growth mindset, or maybe they just haven't framed it the right way. How do you get through to somebody who is the 6-year-old you when they don't have this wisdom that you have yet?
Oh my God. You just threw me alley-oop. That's my TEDx talk. Overcoming rejection, what to do when people hurt you and life isn't fair. I've got a free rejection to success guide. I wasn't even going to say that. I was going to talk about some other stuff I got going. But I've got that free rejection to success guide that helps you take that moment of because here's the problem, is you got to get beneath the pain to find the buried treasure. Oh, that's worth the whole podcast.
Have a good one.
You gotta get beneath the pain to get to the buried treasure. What do you mean? I mean that if I'm oil and somebody else is water, we were never meant to mix. If I experience rejection, nothing's wrong with me. Something's right with me. I got to figure out what properties of water do I have, and how do I use the water in my life? And I got to stop trying to be oil or stop trying to be something that mixes with oil. Here's the problem. We get rejected. People don't like us. Stuff happens to us, and we think something's wrong with me. And I'm trying to reframe it and say rejection is not your enemy. It is your friend. The reason why you were rejected, the reason why people left you, the reason why you were fired, the reason why people didn't buy what you were selling, et cetera, is because something was right with you. You've got to figure out what it is, and you got to figure out how to use it to serve you. The Rejection to Success Guide helps with that, and it's free.
Love that.
There's no upsell. There's no like, go through this and I'll coach you. And if there was, oh, well, invest in yourself. But there's not. It's completely free. You've got none to lose. Go through that.
When do you know when it's time to look in the mirror and change yourself then? Not because you got rejected by someone else, but because you're not living up to your own standard, right? So what's your take on that?
When do you know? It's the same thing that I heard in one of your podcasts is, when's the best time to plant a tree? Mm-hmm. Well, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
What second best time is today?
Right.
So when do I know it's time? Today is time. Dude, what? It's already there. It's not going anywhere. It's not like I hate that we as humans wait to like crisis to deal with stuff. Like, you don't have to wait till you're at your wit's end. You don't have to wait till you're suicidal. You don't have to wait till you're going through a divorce. You don't have to wait till you lose your company to go, I need to work on me. You just need to work on you.
Right.
Let me let everyone off the hook, okay? Alan, everybody listening, Darryll Stinson, the guest on the podcast today. We've all got stuff.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
there. It's there. So the time is now. That's when you work on it. I would just, dude, I did this thing, and I think John Maxwell encourages this too, is he said, the thing about our blind spots is that there are blind spots. We don't know it's there. So he said, look, ask people that are around you, hey, what do you see in my life?
Mm.
What brokenness do you see? What pain do you see? What weaknesses do you see? Because they see it. You're the only one that doesn't. And that's okay. So I would start now, and I ask people that question all the time. I ask my team the question, hey, what do y'all see that I don't? What's my blind spot?
Kevin and I ask each other that all the time.
Yeah, because it's going to run me over.
Yeah, and
Right.
I think that's one of the things we talk about a lot, Darryll, is a lot of people are afraid of feedback, right? They're afraid of feedback because that is what it is. When you look in the closet, you're getting a giant dose of feedback. And what has to happen next? After you see what it is, you have to make a change, right? I think that's the problem for a lot of people. So I wanted to talk about identity a little bit because that's something that you help athletes who are coming out of being an athlete or a professional sport to figure out what your new identity is. Can we talk about, number one, what is an identity and how do you know what yours actually is, like right now in this moment?
What makes you feel valuable? Is it coming from externally or internally? That's how you know what your identity is. The goal is to get to the place where you control, you decide who you are, not something that's outside of your control. Work, a relationship, whatever. I use this example. How can you tell? I use this to somebody because sometimes it's hard for people to get this because this stuff is like abstract and we want bullet points. So I try to give people examples to just help them. I use this example, like, how do I know my identity is in something else? Okay, well, can you live without it? If I took your podcast away, would you still love you? Or has the podcast become the thing where you get love and value from? Okay.
Interesting.
What's motivating the things that you do on a daily basis? So are you doing it from a place of acceptance and affirmation? Are you doing it for acceptance and affirmation? Insert athletes, and sometimes they start out good, but we end bad because we grow up getting cheered for, getting asked for autographs. And so somehow over the course of time, it goes from I do this because I love to do this, and I do this because I get praised to do this.
Right.
Identity shift.
How do you recognize when that's happening and catch it in advance before the plane crashes?
Recognize what. So
that shift from
I encourage daily journaling, and if you're not like a journal person, I say at least jot. Right. So if you don't want to do a whole like page or two of journaling what happened, I at least say write some bullet points about your day, because this stuff comes up. It's very easy to recognize. It's not as hard as it might seem.
Right.
So when you look and review your day and you start to recognize, man, that really was hurtful to me. Like that person got on my nerves. I say, why? Why? And it's not always that you have an identity issue. Sometimes that person's just a jerk, right? But sometimes it's like, well, because I wanted them to give me affirmation that I didn't get. Uh-oh. I wanted them to give me a praise that I didn't get. They didn't invite me to the party. Oh, they called me snotty, not snotty nose. That's see, I'm talking to 6-year-old Darryll. I was snotty nose. But snobby. A lot of people get called snobby, or a lot of women who have like A-type personalities, they're domineering, right? And that's something that really hurts, right? Okay, watch this. This is an example I use all the time. This is fun. I say, and it's a funny example. Just go along with it, okay? You guys can handle this. So if I'm like, yo, bro, you are a bird. You're a bird. What would you say to me?
Well, I'd probably say, what kind?
I'd say no, I'm an eagle.
No. So you guys are completely messing up my example right now.
Nobody's ever asked me that before.
No,
I wasn't prepared.
I asked the wrong question.
Right.
The point is this. You would never be like, you would never come home and be like, yo, I got called a bird today. I feel like a bird.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because you recognize that it's not who you are. But if I say, you're a jerk, you're controlling, and you come home and you go, man, they called me controlling today. That was really hurtful. I'm not. Uh-oh. There's something about what they said that's true.
Right. There's the mirror.
I used to
You
put
see?
I used to put posts up, and this was I was not a very nice, but I wasn't bad, but I had a little attitude to me, and it was one of those things like,
Yeah.
if this post offends you, it's because it's true, right? I could
Yeah.
very easily put up like, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I think that it's strange how, because you understand a word, you realize that, like, again, it's just the look in the mirror.
Yeah.
It really is the look in the mirror.
Yeah.
What made you get into this mindset, into actual personal development? I know when you were in the psychiatric hospital, it was after that, right? Was that the first time you ever dabbled with personal development, exploring your thoughts? Like, what was that like for you to start?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a psychiatric unit was my turning point. I think I had a faith encounter that was the foundation. But I think because I had already hit rock bottom, and since I survived suicide, I literally looked up in the sky and I said, God, if I survive suicide, then make my life worth living. And I wasn't content, because you got to remember the one of the driving forces of my suicidal phase of mine was not that I couldn't be successful at something. Dude, I was the number one sales rep in my little Cutco circle for a while. I had charisma. I knew I could be successful at something. I just didn't think I would be fulfilled by anything like I was at sports. So the driving was that, like, man, my current life is going to be lackluster to my former life as an athlete. That's not worth staying alive. I'm not going to find somebody that I love like I love the girl that left me. So I might as well, in my life. And I think the fact that I survived these suicidal attempts, I felt like God was keeping me alive for a reason. And I wanted to find out what that reason was. And that's what I call purpose. I think passion is good. I think purpose is better.
Darryll, for
Yeah.
you started to believe on an unconscious, subconscious level that your past was brighter than your future. I think that is something that happens to a lot of people. And when that starts to happen, I'm sure you've heard Viktor Frankl's A Man's Search for Meaning, the book. Such a powerful book. And he talks about if you don't have a bright future of meaning ahead of you, you'll stop investing today for that brighter future, and then you're going to feel like hell. So for you, how did you recognize, okay, I believe my past athletics is better than my future. I believe my past woman and relationship is better than my future relationship. What did you do to shift that? And how can you help people who might be going down that road right now with Corona happening?
Ooh, that's really good. I can't say it's enough. I survived. The fact that I survived was my driving belief that something was worth me surviving. The other thing that I say, and how this can help people, is sometimes you have to borrow somebody else's belief in you before you can believe in yourself. When people had faith that I didn't have, when people had hope that I didn't have, when people were saying that I see leadership, I see a speaker, I see this in your life, man, you can be successful in this area, man, you're amazing, you're great on camera, you're da-da-da, and I'm like, I'm not. I had to borrow their belief, and that caused me to invest in myself, because I was trying to live up to what they saw until I saw it myself. Watch this. Right now, there's two people in this crisis we're in. There's the woe is me. There's the dude, we're going to go into the 2008 economy. This is going to ruin us. There's that group of people. And then there's people like us and many other people that are listening that say, dude, I don't know how, but this is going to serve us for the good.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow we're going to crush this. And I'm saying that in full empathy for people who have brick and mortar businesses or in the entertainment industry, or even people like myself who are speakers and their in-person speaking engagements got canceled. Now they got to go digital and they don't know if people are buying. Like, I get it, but mindset is important. And when you start to borrow others' hope in the future, if I listen to this podcast and I go, dude, these guys believe that, like, there's still market to pursue. There's still money to be made. These guys believe it. You know what? I might not, but I'll borrow their belief. I'll steal that. I'll steal your courage until I start to see some results. And then I'm like, oh, I've got the same courage. I've got the same hope. And then I become an ambassador of the same message.
Do you think it varies from person to person where, like, I borrowed Alan's belief a ton in the beginning in terms of everything, getting out of my comfort zone, learning to speak, everything. Now, it took a while before I was able to venture off into my own. Do you think it's got to be different from person to person, right? Like, somebody listening to this might borrow your belief for a month.
Yep.
Somebody might need your belief for a year.
Yes.
What determines that?
Where you are. I look, dude, no shame in your game. If you need help, get help. like this is like, if you need government assistance, get government assistance for you as long as you need it until you don't need it anymore. Like, if you need to borrow hope, tune in to every episode of your podcast until you have hope arise. Listen to some music. Go listen to speakers until something in you goes, forget this, I'm doing this. And realize that there's really no other option.
Dude, this is powerful.
Like seriously, realize that like being doubtful is not serving you well.
Right. It's not helping. It's
not
literally
helping.
not helping. It's part of the problem. Right.
Even if it's true, it's not serving you.
But how do we get that through? Because again, we're having a very hyper-conscious conversation here, right? But to us, this is super normal. Like, this is just the way life is. We talk about this every day, Darryll. I'm sure you do too. If somebody's listening to this and says, like, how the hell are you guys so hopeful? Like, what is your answer to them?
Okay. Yes.
To get them to
okay. So first of all, I vehemently disagree with the fact that this is so hard. I hear it all the time. That's the pushback. But how? And they're saying, but how? Because they're like, it doesn't make sense. It's abstract. I don't know where to start. It's hard. And I'm saying, no. The same energy that you're spending and being negative is the same energy it takes to be positive. The same energy that you spend talking about what can't work is the same energy that you use about trying to be optimistic and seeing what can work. It's the same energy. It's not harder. It's what you're spending the energy on.
Right.
It's that simple. It's not complex. It's only complex because you keep telling yourself it is. So the story you tell yourself is dramatically important in this. Okay, now, how do I do that? Okay, I'll give you some practical stuff. One practical thing. How do you learn how to walk?
By falling on your face.
Practice.
There you go.
Right.
Take a step. You get up. You waddle. You fall head first and do a somersault. But you don't fall and go, I can't walk. I suck. No, mommy, daddy picks you up. Come on, do it again. It's so cute. It's like we've lost the art of failing forward. Like, just because you go into your meditation time and get nothing and fall asleep doesn't mean that you're not going to get something from the process.
Been there.
We've all been there. But we stuck with it. We practiced. We kept taking steps until it worked.
Why is that less now, failing forward? Why is that not as prevalent?
Because of social media. Because of marketing. And because people say 7 steps to your breakthrough.
Right.
The one life hack to produce it. And we make everything seem like it's microwave, and we know it's not.
Right.
We know it's not. And I get it. Viral does exist, but most people who went viral have been putting out content for a long time.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's social media. It's comparison. It's so funny. I got broken out of the comparison game when one of my best friends, they had a date night, and him and his wife, and me and my wife were arguing. And I looked at their social media picture, and they looked so happy, dude. They were like they were that couple that like feeds each other, and like they do everything. They have all the same interests. And I'm sitting here like, man, my relationship sucks, dude. Like, and this was like a couple of years ago. And I was like, my relationship sucks, man. They're so happy, dude. I kid you not. This is a real story. Not more than 5 minutes later, He called me. Man, I can't stand her. Shit, da, 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 da. And she's getting on my nerves and she's talking about this and she wants things her way. And man, I'm hot. Man. I'm like, what in the world, dude? What? Can you believe that I was just depressed about my relationship because I compared it to a snapshot of his?
Right.
That's why it's so hard, because we keep looking at other people's lives. We keep looking at a scene at other people's lives and thinking it's the whole movie. And
Right.
we judge their highlight versus our reality.
So
That's the
powerful.
problem.
So, and by the way, your subconscious does this automatically. One of the things I wanted to say about this episode in particular is when Kevin asked you the question of like, how do we stay optimistic? At the end of the day, don't make cake with cement. It takes some sugar, optimism. Like you have to feed your mind the good stuff and not just have the news on 24/7. Stay aware, of course. But like for me, I'm like, I tell people this, and I've said this on the podcast, like if you spend enough time with me, I will brainwash you into believing in yourself, like legitimately brainwash you. People will think you're nuts. They thought Kevin was nuts. Like, wait, what do you mean you can do all this stuff? Because optimism will always win in the long run. So how have you personally, for lack of better phrasing, brainwashed yourself into self-belief and believing in others? Because I can tell you believe in humans so much.
Brainwashing.
Like
I
literally. Yeah.
I love that you use that word. True story. So I still see a counselor today. All right, Mr. Speaker Man, Mr. Businessman. I still see a counselor today because I need to stay sane. Right. When in my early days, I was seeing this counselor and she was telling me, like, I didn't have this belief in myself. And she was telling me all the stuff that we're trying to tell people right now, you know, faith and optimism and it's worth the reviewing your past and going through the dark night of soul. Like there's treasure buried beneath your pain, all this stuff. She was saying all this stuff and huge on declarations and statements and law of attraction stuff. Like she was just good. She was just like beating at him. And I'm like, I literally said to her, like, man, I'm not trying to brainwash myself with that. Like that sounds like brainwash. Like I'm just supposed to just tell myself that I can do it and then I can, you know? So like, that was my mentality then.
Right.
And here's what she said.
Yep.
Here's what she said. Darryll, you've been talking for 30 minutes during our session. Everything I heard you say was completely negative, and it was all about how you can't. She said, you're already brainwashing yourself with negativity.
Exactly.
Why don't you change the tape?
Fire. Such fire.
Isn't that good?
Right.
You're already doing it. You're just, again, it takes the same energy.
People have told me, like, I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid. It's like, you already are. That's just shittier Kool-Aid. Like, honestly.
Yes. It is. You're already drinking the Kool-Aid.
Right.
And that's why I love, like the one thought can change your life. One belief. You don't need 90 steps. You need one belief. One belief that there's a deeper purpose for you. One belief that you can make an impact. One belief that you can be the person that changed the legacy of your family and your children and your children. One belief. That's all you need. And then you build on top of that belief.
Darryll, this is a question that I wanted to when I was watching your TEDx talk, Character is something that Alan and I talk about a lot. I always want my character to precede me. I value that almost more than anything. What is character in a human being, and how do you build it, especially in a day where I could very easily find a homeless person and give them a $5 bill, take a picture of it, look at me, I'm doing good things. I think I have a great character, and people get manipulated that way. So what is character, and how do you adjust yours?
Character, just like integrity, is who you are when nobody's looking. And I mean that from an outward and an inward perspective. Outwardly, if you feel super confident, I actually just interviewed somebody for Second Chance Athletes, my brand, a couple days ago. Was that yesterday? No, that was 2 days ago. And I like the way he worded it. I've said it similar, but I like what he said. He said the true test of where you are is when you're all by yourself and nobody's watching. Do you love you? Do you like you? Do you have desires to be generous? Like, that's your character. It's not how everyone perceives you is your reputation. But who you are when nobody's watching is your true character. If you're a nice person, you're nice you're nice when nobody's watching. You're considerate, you're compassionate when nobody's watching. In your secret place, you're thinking about other people. That's who you are. Um, and so that's what that means to me. And how do I develop character? Here, rather than beat myself up about who I'm not, how about I just define who I want to be? How about I just write down 5 to 7 characteristics that I want people to say about me at my funeral? And how about I just start finding practical ways to show up like that every day? You want to be more generous? Okay. Start by giving somebody $5. Start by giving somebody your time. You want to be more nice? Okay. Start by sending somebody a compliment. And if you show up consistently every day in alignment with the values that you want to create, you develop good character.
It's powerful.
It's that practical.
Powerful. Kev, what do we got on the clock? I just want to
We
gauge.
got 17 minutes left. I have to use the bathroom, so I will see you gentlemen in a minute.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Darryll, looks like it's just you and I, so let's talk some smack about Kev. No,
man.
You know I'm kidding. We would never.
He's short, I can tell.
No, oh my goodness. So this has been absolute fire. One of the things I want to make sure I get a chance to ask is a question that we ask every single guest. And I know Kevin will ask his question as well. I don't know if you heard us ask this before, but I've been looking forward to asking you this because of how fire this episode has been. Okay, so I don't know if you see me on camera. I've got my True North necklace here.
Love it.
Okay, this is the thing that I represented that I told you about during my dark moment of not escaping the pain, but really looking at what was left when I was in the dark. And this was sort of what I saw, a distinction, a purpose prayer that I say to myself every day. So we grow, we evolve, we change. You mentioned wisdom sometimes comes alone. Okay, but I believe there's a part of us that never changes, a part of us that, lives on and that just is universal and constant and just truth, our own unique truth. For you, what about you never changed?
My desire to want to change the world and leave it a better place than what I found it. It's always been there. My creativity never changed. People think, I think sometimes if there's a community that I think the world can serve better other than teachers, I think it's the creatives. I don't think people understand how lonely creativity is and innovation. Think of the definition of loneliness. Nobody can relate. Is the most lonely place to be. What's creativity? It's doing something that no one has ever done before. So I think that the part of me that thank God never died was the desire to change the world through my uniqueness and my creativity. And I don't know, let me just encourage the creative people out there, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people in the arts and even business. I think some of the most creative people are business people. They have creative business concepts. Let me say something. I know what it feels like to have an idea that nobody else sees.
Oh my God, man.
To have a vision that you so desperately want somebody to be like, to just believe with you, see it, to get it like you get it, but they don't. That sucks. But let me offer you this perspective. What if the reason why they can't see it is because you were supposed to build it so they can? And what if it's the loneliness of the soul that is actually the catalyst of the creativity?
Right. That loneliness, that pain is the motivating factor. You just resonated so deeply with me.
The greatest songs always come out of the deepest pain. The greatest business ideas always comes from the greatest friction. I just want to let some people off the hook. Stop trying to get other people to see what you see and just build it.
Yeah, amen to that.
You asked him what never changed.
Mhm.
I know the question. All right,
Kevin knew.
so I'm gonna switch my last question up because
Okay.
I'm feeling a little freestyle today.
Oh, I love it.
If you
Uh-oh.
and the reason I asked this question is because I said this on stage before, and I don't know that a lot of people agree with it. Again, I was suicidal as well, right?
Mhm.
If you could go back and change anything
Mhm.
about your life, would you, and why?
I hate this question. Well, it's a good question though. And it's in that same vein of like, what do you want your younger self to know and all that stuff.
Right.
And I know where you're going with this, and I'm gonna just give you both. So if I could go back and change it, would I? Well, if I say yes, I'd change some things, then would I be who I am today? Like I get it.
I watched Minority Report last night, just so you know, by the way. Have you seen Minority Report? The future and the past? Oh, okay, never mind. It's all about like if you change one thing, the ripple effect that has. Anyways,
yeah, exactly.
don't let me take Kevin's question. You go right ahead.
So but at the same time, isn't that what we're trying to do in adding content to the world? Aren't we trying to help people avoid obstacles that made us us?
Yeah.
Mhm. The great paradox.
Ball, baby. So listen, I'm gonna give you both sides of the coin. Yeah, my pain made me who I am, and I don't know if I would necessarily change anything. But I sure would like to change some things. I think rather than changing what happened to me, I'd rather change my perspective on what was happening to me. I'd rather, if there's one thing I would change, it would be my confidence in myself. It would be my belief in myself. It would be my love of myself. That's the one thing. Like I say this, there is enough people talking bad about me, hating on me, criticizing me, that I don't need to be the president of the committee. And I was head, hate me, Nacho. I hated my voice. I hated how dark I was. I hated how tall I was. I hated everything. I don't know if there was one thing I liked about I hate my nose, my gap, everything. And I wish I would have changed that. I don't know if that would have changed being made fun of, but it sure would have changed how I felt about being made fun of.
Well, you got two dudes here who got love for you, man. This was again, every episode this keeps happening. I keep saying this is one of my favorite. This probably was my favorite. So you survived the hyperconscious gauntlet, at least, right? So now talk about where people can find you.
Yeah.
Talk about the things that you're passionate about, courses, coaching. Plug away, my man.
Yeah, we talked about this before we started, but I'm launching a new purpose mini course that can help you get massive clarity over your life's purpose. This is extremely important. If you don't get to the core of why you do it, you'll never reach your full potential. I'm not talking about generic stuff. I'm not talking about my passion or my purpose is to help others. My purpose is to be a good steward. My purpose is to be a good father or mother, or my purpose is to leave a legacy. Nope. I want something unique. Because look, that statement about my purpose is to help others, my purpose is to help other people find their purpose. That stuff that people say is their purpose, there's a billion other people on the planet that can say the same thing.
Mm.
So to me, that's not purpose, that's passion. I believe in purpose. I think your purpose should be as unique as you are. I think we should be able to look at your purpose statement, and just like we can look at your thumbprint and go, that's Alan, I think we should be able to look at your purpose statement and go, that's Alan. This course helps you do that. in a short amount of time. And I invested thousands of dollars of training, hours and hours of time, tons of failure and meditation and praying and asking people and surveying people. I took every personality assessment. None of it helped as much as this process does. So I say purchase the course. It's going live Monday, but I'm going to make it go live Sunday. Since the podcast is going on Sunday, it's going to go live Sunday. So you can access it today while you read it. Go purchase the course. The link is in the show notes. It's specifically tailored towards former athletes because I'm passionate about that, helping athletes fall in love with their life after sports like they were in love with their life as an athlete. Okay, so connect with me, Second Chance Athletes. I'd love to hear your story. We're doing a story campaign called Your Second Chance Story, where we're just highlighting people's story. I just want to hear. I want to give people a voice. So I'm not doing podcast episodes. I'm doing 5 minutes or less, 2 minutes or less, short stories, Your Second Chance Story, and I'm just gonna blast the world with these messages because I believe everybody's story matters. Okay, so shoot your story to us at connect@secondchanceathletes.com, and we'll find a way to get it out there to the world. Okay, as long as it's meaningful. Okay, which I believe it is. And then follow me on IG, Stinson Speaks. Let's connect.
My man.
Absolutely. Oh, dude, let me tell you 2 more things. So I hate giving people multiple call to actions. Just your one call to action is go buy the course. Okay. But and download the free rejection guide. Right. You just got to do that. That's an easy win. But I have some music out there.
Ooh.
Okay. So, all right. Tell me something that somebody has said about you that's like maybe could be a barrier to your success.
Oh boy.
Crazy.
That you're crazy.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay, whatever. You're crazy. Another way to describe that is mental health issues, right? I'm not saying you have mental health issues, but seriously, I actually wrote this for people who struggle with addiction and struggle with mental illness because I am it, right? I told you I see a counselor. Hey, don't tell anybody, but I still take anxiety medication, okay? Shh, it's a secret. So anyways, I wrote this song called Defy the Statistics. And what I love about the song is I recorded it with a mentee of mine. His name is Obed. And I recorded it, and he lost his mom to suicide when he was younger. His dad is a lowlife. This dude has, like, the chances, he got kicked out of school. He's in an alternative school. He's behind, like, almost 2 grades. Like, he's going to be 2 grades behind. Everything about his life says that he should not succeed. Statistically, he should not succeed. But I believe that with God, we can, we will, we must defy the statistics. This is special for you. I said they labeled me a statistic. I think they missed it. I was selling drugs just to make a living. I was dealt a bad hand, but I still ripped it. I turned a couple of ounces into a whole business. You couldn't tell your boy nothing. I was so driven. I was trying to make it to the league, headed straight to prison. Listen, it's crazy what we go through to get what we want by creating a life we don't. It's stupid. So that's the song. Go buy the song. Defy the statistics. You can listen to the second verse and the chorus, which is fire. It's on all streaming platforms, whatever. So sorry for like 18 call to actions, but hey, it's fine. I don't care, dude. I'm not in this like to get rich and famous. I'm trying to add value. I'm trying to set people free. I'm trying to help people walk in abundance. So I'd rather give you 17 things to download than one thing that's going to build a funnel and grab your email address. I don't care. Like, if I can't help you, subscribe to your stuff. But if I can, let's go on this journey together.
I definitely believe you can. I'm setting the intention now, so I might not look like a rapper, but I do rapping myself.
Come on. You got to give it. You got to give it.
Well, so a lot of my stuff is like battle kind of stuff.
Come on.
All right, ready?
Yep.
I can defeat you without leaving the seat. My hands behind my back. I don't need him to rap. Just give me a map to Hammer's. Hold on.
Come on.
Hold on. Oh, my God. I can defeat you without leaving the seat. My hands behind my back. I don't need him to rap. Just give me – oh, my God. Just give me a track, 2 nails, a hammer, some glue, a knife, rope, and some tacks. They'll find you laying down, bleeding out from your throat and the back with my tack on your forehead. Now you're under attack. You get it? I'm hotter than a polar bear in Iraq. And, hey, several times a day, they say my mind's at play. If murder fantasies become reality, I'll find a way. The clock says game over. That's the final play. It's my time now, and I won't give you the time of day. My God. So screwed up the beginning there a little bit, but –
that's all right.
Yeah, I appreciate
I see that. I hear the skill. Hey, I promise you, I would tell you on your own podcast if that was whack, but that wasn't. That was good. That was good, man. And I'm telling you, I would tell you because I'm like, all right, I always put people on the spot when they say the ground. I was like, go ahead.
All right, you boys ready for me to spit? No, I'm kidding.
One more.
I'm gonna stick to the personal development.
One more. You ready? Drug use. I said drug use and mental illness. It don't matter. What they say about us is dumb chatter. We do recover. We do bounce back. How about that? Smooth leather seats Cadillac. We used to all play as kids, call it Cabbage Patch. I started passing them beans, called it Hacky Sack. They told me that we'll never make it out of the gutter. They must have been off that butter because we here. All right, I'm done, man. I gotta. Hey, look. Hey, we should make a song together, man. That would be fire. Look, let's make a song together and let's diss people who complain, and let's make it a 3-minute episode. That'd be cool.
I'm in. We'll set it up.
Let's make it happen.
Deal.
Thoughts or things.
All right, Darryll, we appreciate you, man.
Thanks,
Thank you so
man.
much for adding so much value, being so real, vulnerable, genuine. You're a great human being, and this was a
Thanks,
genuine pleasure for Alan and myself.
One last thing I want to say, Darryll. Thank you for coming on the show. Like Kevin just said, you exceeded expectations in every way, even the plug.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
You
Thanks.
kept exceeding expectations the whole way. So thank you for
Thanks,
coming
man.
on.
Ladies and
Appreciate
gentlemen,
it.
Appreciate you guys.
Darryll Stinson, the one and only. Thank you, my man.
Talk to you
All right,
soon.
y'all. Deuces.